Throughout most of his role as the Sith Master of Darth Vader, Palpatine regularly manipulated his apprentice by appearing to care for him and masking his agenda as one with both of them in mind. In reality, Vader was nothing more than a tool in his master's eyes, one that could easily be disposed of if needed, and Palpatine made this absolutely clear to his apprentice after coming to the conclusion that he had become weak after the revelation that he had a son named Luke Skywalker. It was shortly after the events of The Empire Strikes Back when Vader decided to go on a personal crusade in discovering who hid his son from him after Padme gave birth. This mission eventually led him to allying himself with one of his wife's former handmaidens, a woman named Sabe. Together, they were able to uncover the scant information that remained of Padme's final moments right before her death, in which she professed her belief that there was still good within her husband, despite his fall to the dark side. Although Sabe was a rebel who even tried to kill Vader at the start of their reluctant team-up, the Sith Lord ultimately allowed her and her rebel cell to live, perhaps not being able to kill someone who shared so much likeness to the very woman he loved. Nonetheless, when Vader returned to Coruscant and the Imperial Palace, he was met with a livid Emperor Palpatine. Upon sensing his apprentice, Palpatine realized the great conflict within him, believing Vader to no longer be drawing upon the full extent of the dark side, as grief overflowed his mind rather than hate and anger. As the two stood feet apart from each other, Palpatine randomly attacked, shooting out his Force lightning towards his apprentice, but being mildly satisfied to see Vader still capable of defending himself. When asked why he was being attacked, Palpatine and his Grand Vizier Masamida explained the situation. Failure in turning Luke Skywalker to the dark side and allowing him to escape, ignoring his summoning to meet with the Emperor in favor of pursuing a personal mission and allying himself with rebels and letting them live, all when combined could be viewed as treason. Vader's leash seemed to have loosened following the discovery of his son, and after seeing Padme's final message about him. Palpatine, being his master, was going to tighten it no matter the cost, even if it meant the risk of his apprentice dying, and thus the mask fully came off and his true sadistic nature was revealed. After the explanation, Palpatine had his guards attack Vader with the intent to kill. The Sith Lord was able to defend himself with ease, to which his master swiftly disarmed him of his lightsaber, forcing his student to rely solely on the power of the dark side. Even without his weapon, Vader was still able to overpower the guards without trouble to his master's amusement. But it was still not enough. By giving Vader a taste of his own medicine, Palpatine began to force choke him, holding him up in the air as if he were a toy and slowly starting to crush his throat. While this was happening, Palpatine berated Vader by calling him weak, fearful, and by mocking the fact that he was named the Chosen One by the Jedi, despite his recent actions suggesting otherwise. Palpatine even sadistically mocked Vader's feelings for Padme, stating that her death had fueled his power and that was her purpose, but now that it was all lost due to the weakness of his past being slightly reignited within him following his recent experiences. And with that, Palpatine began to slowly crush Vader's limbs one by one while ordering him to forget Padme, to forget Luke, and to forget everything but his servitude to his Sith master, as that was Vader's only purpose now. With his apprentice now on the ground before him with only one of his limbs remaining, Palpatine made it clear that Vader had to reignite his anger that fueled his connection to the dark side as before, or that he would simply be eliminated. The test resulted in dropping off the still severely injured Vader to the very same spot on Mustafar where he was found after his defeat by Obi-Wan. His test was to survive and rebuild himself without using the Force. Afterward, Palpatine returned to his shuttle nearby and gleefully watched as his apprentice struggled to his castle by dragging his body across the planet's rocks. Unknown to Vader, his master had also sent an apprentice that specialized in killing Sith after him, to add to the entertainment Palpatine was about to watch his student struggle through. The comic ends after the revelation of the assassin, with it to continue in the next issue of the 2020 Darth Vader comic series. Let us know if you want us to cover that in a video when it comes out too.